And start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have roll call and appointment of alternates. Harry.
Here.
Jason.
Here.
Joan.
Here.
Fred.
Here.
And George.
Here.
All right, so we have, we need two alternate, two more people? What do you
Let's
need,
give
one?
George 2 votes tonight.
Yeah.
All right, so, George and Fred, we have,
No, Fred's full.
No, I'm
Not
not.
yet.
He hasn't been,
yeah,
So why don't you put George in tonight
Six.
instead of
They
me?
both can be.
no, we need 2.
yeah,
Oh,
both of
okay.
you can go.
Right.
So George and Fred, are you guys willing to
Yeah.
be voting members tonight?
I'm willing.
Great, thanks.
Willing and able.
Enable.
Okay, public input related to non-agenda items. Since it doesn't appear that we have anybody here, we can jump into new business. So one thing we have to do is submit a budget for next year. So the question is, I guess, I think the budget we have for this year, for the fishing derby and for, the miscellaneous supplies and equipment and all that stuff is probably good for this year. So the question is, do we want to go with the same budget for next year? Or we also have potentially, a few more properties that are going to be under our responsibility with DeRochers, behind the horse farm and the Talarico. Open space as well, so that could be some additional property. I don't know if we would.
How much was the budget?
I think it was, the fishing derby, we had whatever, 750. I don't have the budget pulled up in front of me, and I think we had $1,000 total for operating budget outside of that. And then, there's some fees and
Membership dues and stuff.
membership dues and stuff.
Where does the community garden fall into this? Does that come out of conservation's budget? Because if you're talking about putting any kinds of pumps or irrigation.
That I think we do, we wouldn't come from our day-to-day maintenance funds for that. We'd have to, pull that off of a different fund as a one-time project.
Well, why couldn't we
Oh.
put it in the budget?
You-
We're supporting the
You-
community.
You
garden.
could put it in the budget and present it to the budget committee and the board of selectmen, rather than having to take it out of some other fund.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll have to double check when we have to submit it, but yeah, that's.
Now, you said the budget last year was about 1,000?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I think the total budget, and I'm trying to look it up right now, and Matt, it would be, in the emails that we get from Heather on a weekly basis. Off the top of my head, Harry, it's somewhere in the vicinity, our total budget is somewhere in the vicinity of 42 or 4,600.
Oh,
Of the 42 or 4,600, just kind of breaking it out, we have $1,000 in there for maintenance of properties.
right.
We've got about another $500 in there for miscellaneous supplies. We've got, it was somewhere in the vicinity of $800 in there for the fishing derby. And then there's a few line items in there for dues and some other things. And overall, it comes up to like 4,600, somewhere in that vicinity. Last year, the one key point is last year, we were successful in getting the $1,000 in there for land maintenance. We've never had that before. So unless we have like a special project or something like that, I mean, it's my personal opinion that I'd go with the same budget.
Yeah, we probably have
Yeah.
enough in there.
That was my hunch, but I
No.
wanted to.
With the new property, well, the Talarico property
Well, we don't have to do
particular,
anything with that
yeah,
yet.
we're gonna need signs. We're
Or-
definitely gonna need some kind of
Kiosk.
signs for that,
Yeah.
right? So we feel we can handle that under the current budget?
In DeRochers, we'll put up a kiosk for there too.
That's built into the grant funding.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's part of the grant package, we're gonna have to do that anyway.
So, and I saw the email for, I guess some Girl Scouts are gonna build a kiosk and,
That's in the community garden.
but that has nothing
Yeah,
to,
that'll be something that they'll pull the funding for.
no,
I mean, raise the funding
Yeah.
for separately. That's part of a
So-
whatever the Girl Scout, Eagle Scout equivalent is.
say what Jason said, let's go with the older.
Yeah, and so my only point of contention is, how do we pay for upgrades to the community garden? If we're talking about putting in a pump
Yeah.
and piping.
Let's see, we tried to put in, Joan, help me out here. Last year, we tried to put in something and it got cut. It was 2,500.
Do you have, can you get to the drive, either you get to the town drive? Because I just looked at it today, that FY '25 is in the drive.
Which,
Under shared documents and the town drive.
yeah, I don't know if I have direct access to the town drive, or at least I'm not looking at the right spot.
Unless Kim sent,
Yeah, I
That's
couldn't,
like
I
25.
was having a hard time deciphering Heather's report to figure out where our stuff is in
we're
there.
4,600, 4,611 is our, we're way down the bottom on the,
Oh, okay.
on the, 014611.
On which, there's three
On,
reports.
on the weekly one, what's that first one? Budget report, should be that one, I think. Yeah, we're towards the end, 46, all of the numbers.
Yeah, the 2023 budget is in folder 5.
Folder 5?
That's only the 2023
I
budget.
was just looking at that,
Okay.
and I know I put the 2024 in,
Up to,
I'm not following my
Okay,
own
that's-
rules, maybe.
what are you up to over here? 014611.
Oh, 0146.
So keep going down.
I've got it. It's,
One. Oh, 46.
Come on, Mr. Chair. Under pressure.
so if you go into the OneDrive, if you just search for budget,
Oh, here we
you can come up to 2024 budget.
So it's,
Yeah,
Okay.
What did we have for a total?
so
So
it
we've
was
got
3620.
balance remaining and left.
We have 4470, right, as the selectmen proposed in 2023.
But what, we only got
Oh,
36?
but
What did we get?
Yeah, it's 3620 here. I'm not sure what the difference is. So we have 1,000 for property maintenance. For dues and subscriptions, we have 745, 100 for public.
Could you put that on the screen?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
so it's still around 4,600, right?
Yep,
3620,
30, after the budget committee got it.
yeah,
That was
36.
approved.
yeah.
So it's
36 was approved.
36?
3620 was approved.
there you go. You got dual screen going on.
Yeah. I can't see it otherwise.
Command plus.
Thanks, George.
So 1 megapixel screen?
That's my cursor.
You scroll up a hair? Where is it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find my cursor. There we go. Oh, wait. The wrong one. Oh.
You know. What page are you on? Do you know?
Well, it's 014611. I'm not
Counting.
sure what page.
This page is on the bottom there. 15,
15?
maybe. It's on the top right-hand side.
top right.
Can see it.
Yeah, page 15, if I can see that far.
Got it, all right. So Harry, our total budget's 3620, that bottom number.
And we were able to handle all that stuff last year, right?
This is the first year we've had the $1,000 for property maintenance.
And we got it, I mean,
Yep. Other than a special project, I personally think it's fine.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, we did some good, equipment purchases last year. I think it's just rounding it out. We do need some plies to freshen the equipment trailer, but.
I think we'd be smart to leave it as it is.
Yeah.
I agree.
So if we add on, like George says, if we need a couple grand for the irrigation,
Well, hopefully we won't need that much.
Yeah.
That was, I mean.
where do
it was
we
a
get
couple-
that from? We can either get it from the land fund, or we
It
can
was a
try to
couple
put it in
grand
this
before,
budget.
when we had all that last month from the whole list of stuff. I think we could do cheaper than that. But
So-
Yeah, I'm not,
But
I'm
if
not,
we-
I'm
but
not
if
sure
we-
if we go to solar instead of, we need something that's powered. We need to get some decent batteries
Right,
and
and so
solar
I'll,
panels and stuff. I think I don't think it's gonna be cheaper. I think we can come up with an alternative solution.
yeah, I'll start researching it and see what I can
When-
come up with.
do you remember when you have to go to the selectmen with this?
Uh,
Well, they're doing
for,
budgets.
for the, yeah, I think we're going into the budget cycle, so
Well,
we have to
they're
think about it.
working on all-day budgets.
Yeah,
department,
so,
so- It's coming up pretty fast.
yeah, I mean, we're on the agenda for the next Board of Selectmen, meeting for a bunch of stuff, so
Right.
we can at least, discuss the idea with them to see if they're receptive and get their, advice.
On what? On the budget or on what, their advice on what?
For how we should proceed to try to fund the stuff for the garden.
What they're gonna say. No, go ahead.
And if we do have $1,000 on the property management, right, is, you could spend some of that money this year, because it is management of the community garden, and so
You can.
you could
To
do,
use it.
you could preload some of it this year,
Yeah.
right? Purchase the pump and then maybe purchase the piping, or, spread it out over 2 years, because if we have room in the management budget.
Good point.
How much is a pump? Have you checked that?
We gotta look, cause so the initial proposal we had from Steve Normanton was to have a, 5 horsepower gas
Right,
pump.
Honda.
But, that would still require, someone to
Gas.
run it every time that the pump needed to be
thought the whole
filled, so.
proposal was like 2,500.
Yeah, it was about 500 for the equipment list that he had, so what we wanna do is look at, potentially putting in, a 12-volt pump and then powering that with, some solar panels to see if we can, and then, have some sort of switch to automatically fill when it needs it to make it as low maintenance as possible. And then, Glenn was also talking about, instead of, going through the effort to put it on an elevated tower, we could have another smaller pump be used to,
Pump it up.
to pump it from the tank to
Into the garden.
to the gardens.
Right.
So there's a bunch of stuff we have to
Okay.
investigate before we can come up with a proposal.
George, in my opinion is, if we can get it into the budget, fine. I think they're gonna end up cutting that.
Right.
Yeah.
I personally don't have an issue on a project like this using the land fund for it. I think it's a reasonable
Seems-
use if it's a couple $1,000s. I mean, we make quite a bit of money in just interest on there. We don't wanna, and I think we've always said this, we don't want to, I'm not speaking for the commission, but we, meaning in general, probably shouldn't be using the land fund for pens, papers, operational things, maintenance items or things like that. But if there's something like more like capital related, if we need a mower, or if we need to build a water tower
Or
coming to Litchfield, water tower ×2.
Yeah,
that-
Yeah,
I'm personally okay with that. I don't know how the other folks feel, but.
Yeah, I think it's, and I think getting anything, expense like that approved will be scrutinized pretty hard.
Plus, we're gonna make that water tower 60 feet, so we have a good hydraulic grade line, put a lot of pressure into the system. We're gonna have some pumps where,
Yeah.
60.
Put a bat house on
And I was just
top.
gonna say, there's that house on top.
with the yellow bat
Now you're
on it
talking.
this time.
so, I'll do some research, I'll try to figure out what we can get for pumps for electric ones, whether they can, do the pumping up the, distance we need from the stream to where the garden is, and,
Yeah,
And I'll-
and again, if it's, we probably don't need anything more than like 3 to 5 gallons
a minute.
for a flow rate, yeah.
Right, but it's gonna be, can it push it up?
Yeah.
That's gonna be the big question, so,
But that could also be if, with the design, right, if we don't need to put it, 10 feet up, if we can come up with a.
no, but I'm just saying, so, the stream
Yeah.
is 20 feet below the garden.
Yes.
So we gotta go 20 feet to get to
Yeah.
that, and then maybe, so we have to, a 25-foot head.
Potentially 30 feet,
Right, yeah, so,
so.
so we have a 20-foot head that we have to pump up. That's the issue.
Don't you have a pump? Didn't you say you got a pump at a yard sale for $1?
Well, I got it for free. I have
Okay.
I have a 3-inch pump. Okay, so it's a 5 horsepower, but it's a pretty big, waste pump. And it would, at this point, would probably empty that, stream pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Oh, I'd just be kinda curious if, like, we did a test.
Well, I have a free pump. I do not have a free suction hose or discharge hose.
Gotcha.
And those are a few $100s, and I've been,
is it 3 inch?
3 inch.
Exit and entry?
yeah,
How big is the hose? Fire hose size?
bigger than a fire hose, slightly bigger than a fire hose. That's a 2-inch hose.
Okay.
When do you get it for free?
I'll suck the river down.
Is there a coupler reducer available?
Yeah, you could, yes, so I could reduce down to a 2-inch,
Huh.
which is more readily available. And the pump runs, I just haven't found a hose for it yet. I've been looking. Yeah, but like I said, it's pretty substantial, so as Harry was mentioning last week, the brook is kind of low. I went and looked at different areas where we could
Yeah.
possibly put a pickup. And there is sort of a natural dammed spot that has a deep enough pool that we could put a pump in, I think. And it's on the side where the plots are right now.
Yeah, I think that might be good. So, yeah, we have a lot to investigate before we can.
Yeah, so I'll take that as an action item for next meeting. I'll come in with a pump presentation, okay?
Yeah. And I think Joan said Glenn might be coming in to discuss that a little bit later on.
So we're going with the
Sounds like-
budget for 3,600, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
3620.
just the mirror budget of this year.
Now, we need to bring props to the budget committee meeting. We need a big sheet of paper with a big 0% increase on it,
Yeah, yeah.
and hand that out to everybody in
Okay.
fanfare. And then the other thing we need to do with the budget committee is they'll tend to, make unilateral cuts. If they need to cut from the budget, they'll go, all right, we gotta cut 5%, we're just gonna take 5% across the board. Our job is gonna say to them, hey, man, we're proposing this budget that we currently have right now is what we need. We didn't increase it from last year. Please don't decrease it on us. And so hopefully we can get that point across.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the point that we're gonna be taking on other properties to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're adding, not
And how,
subtracting.
when does that come into play? When's that process?
So it's not until later
Okay.
in the year. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, town budget's coming right up because they were working fast and furious on them today. And she'll put a schedule out if she hasn't already.
The budget committee, I don't think last year was until like November, and that's when they make their cuts. It's actually, there's a few step process. First, we go to the Board of Selectmen, and they go thumbs up, thumbs down, and if we go in there with 0 increase, they'll probably not have any comment to it. And then it ends up going to the budget committee, and we have to meet with them twice. The first time is just informational, and then the second time is when they,
Okay.
start the cutting.
Sure.
Yeah. And can you have any input the second time, or they just pretty
Ye-
much?
Yes, I think we have the opportunity to provide input on the second time, at least. 0% increase. We have to wear T-shirts, 0%. The 0%ers. The Brooklyn Project, the 0%ers.
I might have a T-shirt already.
With a Jason Tatum T-shirt?
I have one with a 00 on it, so.
Oh,
Robert Parrish?
Eric,
Guys are funny.
This thing is not friendly. There we go. All right, so we got through the first line item on the agenda. Okay.
Fine.
Next one is Board of Selectmen meeting prep. So for the next Board of Selectmen meeting coming up in 2 Mondays from now, the 12th or whatever it is, I forget the
I thought
date.
it was next Monday, no,
The note I got was
12th,
the 12th, whatever 2 Mondays is from now.
okay.
But we gotta talk about a couple things. One is to go for approval for the funding for the Parker Park bridges, so we can start getting the poles ordered and stuff
Brooklyn Project?
for Project Brooklyn.
Right.
The other things that we talked about doing was to meet with them non-public. We were gonna talk to them about 2 things, the land preservation strategy, and then also just to fill them in on discussions of other potential other land purchase discussions that we've had previously. I don't think the land preservation
No.
strategy should be non-public.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's,
We definitely want to talk about that in public.
Wanna
But then,
bring up
short,
more land purchases?
we want to, what the idea is not what we're talking about, thinking about next. What we want them to understand, like, our methodology for when we selected DeRochers for a property to pursue, what was our why did we do that? Why did we think it was important?
But we've been told that they should know about anything that we're thinking about, or that we've sent letters to landowners, they should know about that.
All right.
Yeah, so it
I thought
should
we're
just
actively
inform them
doing
of previous discussions that
And
we've
that
had,
should
so
be-
just that we're clear about it.
okay, so, do you need me to give you some, material for the Parker Park?
I think we have a lot of stuff. We should probably just
Right, so you
summarize
might
it,
have
right?
some numbers for the
Yep.
construction
So I
costs.
mean, between the two of you, we should be able to put
And
together.
you, and you have the map already.
Yep.
I just have. some-
Pictures?
the pictures are in a public folder that I'll send you, again, the links, I mean, if,
Forgot about that. Our A-team is gonna be on vacation somewhere,
Yeah, yeah.
Lake George.
I'm gonna be, yeah, Adirondack Lake, I think, or Indian Lake, someplace like that in the Adirondacks. But it's really not all that much, right? It's, we're trying to build the 2 bridges, it's
Yeah,
three,
I
you know.
think it's just a high level project plan.
And the funds are there, I mean, it really should be just a rubber stamp. So far, everybody's been,
We should be coming in with a not to exceed value for our request.
yeah,
So-
not to exceed whatever the value is of the account.
So, well, of the account, or if we want to leave a little bit in there for ongoing maintenance and stuff, so we should be able to do it under 15 grand, right?
Right,
What we-
I think something, yeah, we'll have to talk, whatever your number is for
Yeah.
the rest of the materials.
I think where George is going now is that if we do it for the full amount, and we're not gonna spend that, we don't think
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
gonna spend it, at least,
At this
it's
point in time,
there.
right, from what we know, we haven't run into any problems, we're not gonna spend the full amount, but the full amount is earmarked for building bridges. So if we're gonna build bridges, and that account is specifically for building bridges, if we say we're just not gonna go over that amount,
Yep.
There shouldn't, like, if we say we're only gonna spend 15 and then we need 15.5, and then we have to wait 2 weeks to go in front of the selectmen in order to get access to the account, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean, it's not like we're looking to spend more money willy-nilly, it's just that we think we have a handle on it, but something could come up.
Yep.
And if you showed pictures of the new trails and the map and, you know, be great.
So you'll be available for the next,
Yeah, I think,
next
Should
meeting?
be,
So,
yeah.
yeah, between the two of us, we should be able to, fill in for George.
Right.
tough shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you'll do just fine.
Jason and I need to retire is what we need to do.
Retire from hauling water?
To just retire, so we have more time to do this stuff.
Oh, retire from work, okay,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
All right, the other one is, Diane was representing us for the, Lower Merrimack River. I forget what the full acronym stands
Lower
for.
Merrimack River Local Advisory Committee.
Yeah, so we've been getting some emails on, from them recently. Some emails came in this month about, use of different chemicals for treating that line
Invasives?
thing. The invasives, yeah. And it just came to mind that we don't no longer have anybody in there, and it
So we
sounds
have
like we
Michael.
need.
We have Michael Croto going.
Oh, Michael is going.
Yeah.
Okay.
They haven't been, they don't meet on a regular schedule unless they have a case come in. But we can have two people, and is she stepping down from that?
She was stepping down from that. I wanted to ask her again before she did, but I wrote
Now,
this before I
what
realized she
about
wasn't going to.
Jeff Town?
Well, Jeff Downs would be on rack right, so that's different than,
Okay, I mean, he
Sent
sent
us.
out an email on,
yeah.
Right.
On to go to Limerlac?
yeah,
But, yeah, I mean, we definitely have a bittersweet issue in this town, and it could impact, it could have a big impact on erosion and stuff for the river, so we just want to make sure that we are being represented in there and our opinions are being heard. So we have Michael Croto. I guess I was just asking if there's anybody that had interest in participating. We can ask Diane again. She initially wanted to step down, but I don't know if she wants to
yeah.
still be involved, but we have
You
Michael.
said,
that's-
Joan, that they don't meet on a regular schedule, it's more
No,
of
I don't know what night they meet. I might be interested if it's only once a month. I might. But, yeah, ask Diane first. She's really stepping down.
Yeah, so we'll do that, and then I don't know if we need to, we'll have to hold off for next meeting,
Yeah.
because we gotta understand where Diane stands for it.
Or if anybody out there in the public is interested in going to Lower Merrimack River, this part of the Merrimack River is in shoreline protection, so it's important that somebody goes.
Should we just give for people online, give a quick update of what that is?
Yeah, any project that's in a quarter mile of the river would go to Limerlac, Lower Merrimack Local Advisory Committee. And they are, like we are, an advisory committee. They don't have a say, yay or nay, on a project, but they get projects that are close to the river, any kind of project, and they can give input to that. Right now, I did see all those emails on the pesticide that somebody wanted to, a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, just to give clarification, in this, so what's happening is, the State Department of Transportation wants to spray areas around bridges to kill poison ivy. Right, and they said that they're going to use, derivatives of Roundup. There's many different forms of Roundup. Roundup contains like the herbicide that actually kills the plant, but it also has what's called a surfactant, which wets the leaves and makes sure that the herbicide can attack the plant. And there has been litigation where people have sued the maker of Roundup, and there's been awards. But there are all the scientific studies that I could find, they haven't linked it to cancer. there was one study that said that it may be associated with, and that was in 2019. So I only found this out after following this email chain and going through and doing the research and going to all the different papers. So there have been studies in 2020 and 2022 that refute the 2019. So California has gone on the record in saying that they think it causes cancer and they've banned it. But none of the studies prove it doesn't. Now, there has been litigation, and so juries have awarded people money, but all the studies I can see show that it doesn't cause cancer.
But the Roundup doesn't, it's not gonna just kill the poison ivy, it's gonna kill everything.
Anything they prey on, anything they spray it on.
Yeah,
And then, there's different forms of the chemical. But what I didn't like about this email chain was they said it's been known to cause cancer, and then I read through everything.
Yeah.
And even in the same section of the Wikipedia page where they took the quote, it was refuted. So I'm just trying to educate,
yeah.
the email chain to not overreact. And it is regulated by the state of New Hampshire and the EPA and all these other things, so it is allowed to be used. I think, so I was just stating my case.
Okay, good.
All right, then we also received an email that for NHACC said they have some intern opportunities. I just thought that might be something interesting for us to pursue. I mean, we have plenty of opportunities to keep someone busy.
So I think that's sort of like a college kid or something like that in the summer. And the NHACC or whatever will be paying for that. So if we came up with a position where we said, do you want to drive a tractor? Do you want to mow some fields? Do you want to take, maybe with some supervision, but do they brush hog the Moore's Falls? Do we put them in charge of installing and maintaining the drip, the irrigation system? So we could potentially come up with a list of things. I don't know how many hours a week they're supposed to
What would
work.
happen though with the person?
Who gets paid, like who, do we have to pay?
We don't
No,
pay anything.
NHACC
Okay.
would pay.
They have money to pay these.
But my
And-
question is, can they run a tractor if they're not a town employee or a town volunteer?
Gotcha. That's a
That's
no.
been an issue.
Yeah, I think it's worth us
Brainstorming.
looking into it a little more though, because I think we could have enough projects to keep someone busy for 20 hours a week or whatever.
Run the DR and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So running the DR is different than the tractor?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think
Okay.
so, but I don't know for sure.
right.
Doesn't.
DR is
require-
probably a lot more dangerous than the tractor.
Okay, so
Stuff flying out all over the place on that thing.
we need to make the application by Friday, October 11th.
Okay, this would be for next summer then, I would assume.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
for
yeah.
next summer.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay, so we have until October 11th to come up with, to submit an application with, here's what we'd like this intern to do for us.
What's the resource pool for that? Is it the college or?
It doesn't,
it did say college age, didn't it?
I think it's college age.
Yeah.
College age.
Okay. Probably through
Would have to be
one of the courses.
somebody over 18.
Yep.
18 or over.
says
All right.
for the spring of next year.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, so we'll take a look at that again.
I like that. And would it be, full-time, how's that work? Or do they, it would be hard for me to believe that if we had an intern here, that we could keep someone 40 hours full-time for a period of 4 weeks, but I
Yeah.
wonder if they, jump between towns or something like that.
You could ask.
Well-
send
Okay,
it-
the
yeah.
expectation is 15 hours a week for 3 months. That's what it says. So
Yeah, I think
For
that'd be
3
a.
months,
that-
no
that-
kidding.
that-
15 hours a week for
You do
3
a lot of
months.
mowing.
We could have them systematically go through every trail in town, trim it, brush hog it, whatever, do you know what I mean? So.
I mean, we have to replace signage, there's a lot of different
Oh,
stuff we
yeah,
have to do.
for
so-
sure.
Come up
You
with a
know,
list.
and,
The water tank.
So they do get some direction, but yeah, so I think, maybe we should come up with a proposal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that'd be,
I like it.
they wouldn't have to retire then from their
Yeah.
jobs.
Are all of our trails already, geo-tracked and whatnot?
I don't think so.
All of our trails,
You know, do we have them mapped out on, you know,
yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
But, if we don't, we can have that updated as well, and you can do it in quote-unquote open street map online, and then that ends up getting rolled into, all trails and all those different other
so
apps.
it's just, that was just another, you know, another part of
Didn't we
the.
have, someone on the, that did that for us?
We did, but not everything is in there, like we have a new little spur trail at the,
Oh, in the state
At Morse
forest?
Falls.
yeah, there's
And-
some trails in the state forest, and there's one at, Moores Falls. And then if we build the bridges, we'll need
Yep,
trail maps there. There's, yeah, we can,
yeah,
All right,
and
so-
even like something like these flyers, this is something I found in Atkinson. They put together these little pamphlets for all their trails. I
Yeah,
just thought
those
this
are,
was,
that's nice.
yeah, I thought these were pretty cool. It might be something we want to consider doing.
so, I mean,
I like it.
okay.
Whoever's idea was that, kudos. Is that George again?
For the
NHACC.
intern?
Yeah.
He's the one who flagged it. We all got the email and he said.
We
"Hey,
all
you
got
should-"
the email, and I sent him an email saying, hey, we should probably look into this.
All right, Glenn's here to, instead of having him sit through the entire agenda, he wanted to come through to talk specifically about, the water supply for the garden. So, we met with Steve Normanton, earlier this week, to talk about a few things. One is just, he wanted to, provide some consulting on what people should do to improve the soil in their plots. So his initial proposal was everybody move their plots over to a different spot in the garden so he can work on getting the rate, the soil more up to snuff. He's provided us some compost starter to be able to add that to the soil to help improve on it, and so some other advice that he was providing to the gardeners. But the other thing that we're talking about with him is for water source for the garden. So right now we're trailing water, which is, it's fine for this year, but if we end up getting more plots next year, continue to grow the community garden, that just doesn't scale. So as we were talking about earlier, we want to be able to look at pulling water from the brook right there. So I guess Glenn was looking at some ideas for how we can do that. You wanted to discuss something?
Sure. A couple of things, also
Hold on.
try to,
I think you should come to that chair. It's,
back here.
it's, yeah, this
Just
table,
announce your name and
state your
address,
name and
so-
where you live.
You can move that tray out, that container out of the way.
Thank you.
All right. Glenn McKibben, 2 Whittemore Drive. Had a couple of comments about the water. To maybe, one of the things would be to try to reduce the amount of use of the water. Would be a big help, I think, to the water problem. I think we're using considerably too much water. One part of the problem is the soil is way too sandy.
Yep.
So part of the conversation with Steve Normanton was to try to improve the soil organic mix. So I did a soil test through UNH, and the test came back pretty weak on that particular component. Organic is pretty low. And so the hope was to try to do a green manure plan, which was Steve's idea, was to plant clover and then basically just use the, instead of tilling the soil, just basically dig a small plug and transplant into the spot, and then the clover remains growing. And also kind of helps cover the weeds. And there's also a nitrogen fixer, so you're adding help to it. So that's one of the big efforts, is to try to reduce the amount of water usage by bringing up as much as we can the organic component of the soil. Secondly would be to try to continue to adopt drip irrigation for everybody. I've set it up on my end, and even with no lifting at all of the water, it's coming out of the tank. I'm getting pretty much the max flow rate out of the drip tube. And the nice thing about it is it can go for an hour, and 100 feet uses about it's about half a gallon a minute. So it doesn't put out too much water. I'm looking at the amount of water that gets put out there, and it's a whole lot more than I'm using.
Yeah,
I'll
so
come
I
down
mean,
there.
we're averaging probably 1,000 gallons
Yeah.
per week.
And we figured that I think they figured at 8 PSI, I did the little research, the drip tape I'm using at 8 PSI, which is really kind of low, because normally the drip systems are running at around 20, that's about a half a gallon a minute for 100 feet of drip tape. And I don't have anywhere near 100 feet of drip tape in there right now. So what you're doing is you're putting the water into the soil rather than letting it spread out over the ground and basically evaporate.
Yeah.
And with timing systems, you can also have it happen when you're not there. So you're not doing it in the middle of the day where most of it's now evaporating away. First phase of it, we were looking into using a pump, gasoline-powered pump on the system to drive the water into the park, into the garden area. And I think that's going to be quite a bit too much for power. I think one stage of this would be, they were also considering just for to raise the tank up in the air and raise it quite a little bit up in the air, and that would be enough to solve the problem. Problem is, I checked online, and that really isn't a good idea. You have to raise the thing 30 or so feet in the air to do anything. So, now you've raised the tank 30 feet in the air. How are you going to get the water into the tank?
Yeah.
Is another issue. So, I was thinking about just a plain little simple marine system that's used in most small boats. Is a small on-demand pump. It's a 12-volt pump, and all we need to do is power the thing. And a deep cycle battery would do well, and a great way to charge it would be just simply solar charge it.
Yeah. So Glenn, just to be clear, you're talking about from the river to the tank?
No, this would be just right now from the tank to the garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then come up with another method to get the water into the tank.
What are our plot sizes?
What are they?
About 20 by 50.
20 by 50.
But most people are using about 20 and they're not using the whole 50.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's this year,
Right
though,
now,
but I would
right now.
expect people to
Right.
expand on that, or us to,
Right.
even potentially have more plots next year. There seems to be a lot of
And how many
interest.
plots do we have?
9.
We're full.
Right. And you said you're doing 100 feet?
He's not doing that.
Not even doing
Not
100
even.
feet,
But
because it's only
you're
going
you're
down
only you
a row
only
of the plants.
yeah,
No, I know, so I'm trying to figure out how many, if we have 9 plots, right, and we have, maybe
We
5.
put in 1,000 feet.
Right,
If we put in 1,000 feet, we'd still be way under our water usage.
So you have 100 feet, but you're only using half a plot.
I'm using a little less than that.
Less than 100
Less
feet.
than that, because you figure if you're putting in rows if you're using the square foot gardening method, you're putting in rows of tomatoes on 4-foot squares. So, figure that how many of these rows can you stick in there if you're watering your tomatoes? And that's pretty much where most of the water is going anyway. And, if we could I guess first phase would be to come up with a way to get the water into the garden efficiently, once we get the tank filled. The getting the water out of the brook, I've had experience with it, and it's not an easy task. Especially when it starts getting dry out there.
Yeah, well, that's why we're thinking if we do a lower capacity pump, so it's drawing less, hopefully it would
Yeah.
suck a lot less
I used
junk from the bottom of the stream.
I used a pump similar to the one that they have on the back of the trailer. It's a two inch pipe,
Yeah,
gasoline motor. The whole thing dropped next to the river, next to the brook. But you ended up fishing the suction line into the river and hoping that it didn't clog up. And with the 2-inch line with that power coming behind it, it's sucking up everything.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, it's pretty much is a constant battle, getting everything out of keeping the end clear of litter and leaf litter and everything else that tries to get in there.
Well, plus, when you're taking those leaves out of the stream, you're putting them into your tank and then clogging
Yeah,
your holes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good 15-hour-a-week job.
Yeah, that was probably my least favorite job, was trying to get water out of that brook. And we were taking it out of the same spot, pretty much.
Yeah, that's where it's thinking if we could come up with a electrical pump, 12
Yeah.
volt pump to suck it out of there too, it'd be less suction,
Mm-hmm.
lower capacity, it'd be.
It takes, unfortunately, it takes quite a bit of power to move the water through
Yeah.
the suction end. If
Well,
we put it
if
into a
we had a
submersible.
pump down at the river, so. it's
Yeah, we had
pushing
the pump
instead
right
of
at the
pulling.
river. We put it right down next to the brook, because the suction line wouldn't really
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
start that well. You spend a whole lot of time fixing air leaks in the
Yeah.
line that defeat the whole thing. The suction side is really annoying. The best alternative would be a submersible pump,
Mhm.
because then you don't have the suction side to deal with.
Yep.
And that can run as slow as it wants at that point. But I don't know what, I know that there is we actually have one in the depot, a battery-powered sump pump. That basically is a big 12-volt pump that would act like a sump pump. It's got an inch and a half, or actually, yeah, it's an inch and a half outlet line. It's a pretty big pump. It would be for somebody that has a serious water problem in their basement. Power goes out and the place floods.
Yeah, I don't even know if we would need something that big.
Yeah,
It's probably
but
something
that's,
small.
I mean, I haven't really investigated another smaller pump. The system for the outside is pretty easy, because the pump itself has the switch in it.
Mhm.
And the only other piece that you have to add to the whole thing is what they call an accumulator tank, which is basically a small well tank, so that the pump isn't running all the time. It can, Friends Boat doesn't have one, doesn't have the accumulator pump, a tank in it. But every time you turn the water on, it thump, 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 it runs the pump. So
it's just basically
this is
if we
tiny.
put a level switch inside the
Yeah,
the
no,
storage
the
tank,
accumulator pump tank, all it is a big bladder of air. It's got a big air bladder, and you just fill the tank up with water, half full of water and half full of air. And as soon as the pressure reaches the top, the pump shuts off. Now the tank can drain down and maintain the same pressure. And then the pump could come back on and fill the tank up. And so instead of having the pump kind of run constantly every time you turn the water on, it runs when it needs to, just to
Yeah.
refill.
That's
And you get a nice solid pressure too.
Yeah.
At that point, you're gonna get a good pressure out of the system, so it's gonna be, capable of taking a shower in a boat, for instance, versus running around in there trying to figure out how to get enough water out of this thing.
So they were still going to do some investigation, a lot
Yeah.
of investigation.
Right, it's similar to like an RV pump. I think they sell them for RVs.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think the big issue is like, can we get an electrical pump that can pump from, the
Battery operated.
battery operated, 12-volt battery, and then, you
From the
know,
brook,
from the brook
and up.
up, if we
Yeah.
can find one that will do the job.
And how
then
much
if-
power would it need to accomplish it?
Right, is there one, how expensive is it? And then, if you're talking about using solar power, well, if you can't have your battery right next to your pump down in the shade in the stream, you can't put your solar panel there, so you're gonna have to have your solar panel
In the field.
in the field, and so there's, you know, you have voltage drops when you, go longer distances with cords, so there'll be some math involved, so, we'll have to figure out, you know, where we could, recharge, you know, and what we're doing, so,
And then you had that, like you said, it's 20 feet from the brook up to the,
and that's just a guess,
yeah, it's at least that. yeah.
And then,
That's like,
like he said, the pump from the tank to the garden is the least of our problems, right? It's
Yeah.
getting it from
Yeah.
the brook up to the.
getting,
so-
getting a pump to sit up high on the bank and then running a suction line down into the brook, is problematic at best.
Well, what about the thought that if we got a trailer, we have the tank that he's letting us use, if we got a trailer, we wouldn't have to use the brook. But
Well, the
somebody
problem
still
is you're
has
gonna
go
have to
get the water.
disconnect your pump system every time you move the trailer, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, for
right,
the
cause
outlet.
if we're now doing, you know, this pump and drip tape,
Yeah,
you know,
well, the.
or, you know,
people
you have
gotta
a
be convinced of
two-stage.
that, First
yeah.
of all,
Excuse me?
people weren't real convinced about the drip tape. There were other gardeners,
Well, that could be an education issue.
Yeah,
Now,
if we could
also-
come up a way to just keep the tank constantly filled, right?
If you
If
get
people
the
wanna use
water
drip tape
there,
or
they
buckets,
can
they,
work phase two.
what?
Once you get the water there, phase two could be, some people may wanna do it
Right,
manual. and-
right, you've gotta figure out how
know,
to get the water
yeah.
there, right?
Right, and so,
On these gardens, now, are they actually, they're digging the soil first, right? And then trying to add compost into it?
No, some of them aren't, some of them are.
Okay.
We've had, one of the problems that we have there, one of the problems we have, it's sandy soil. And
Well-
it's extremely compacted.
Yeah, where I live, I actually put in beach plums
Yeah.
that I got from Salisbury Beach, and they went crazy. But
So-
I had to put in flower gardens, but what I had to do was do a raised garden and fill it with compost to reduce the amount of water that,
Yeah.
that you're using.
It's been difficult at best because pretty much the way we've been starting is to rototill. And then once you rototill, all of the seeds that are in the soil for the last 100 years all become viable up in the surface and sprout. And so that's a constant battle until you get that all weeded out. And some of the people that was one of the reasons why some of the people didn't want to try to move their garden at all, because of the having to repeat the process of de-weeding this.
well, that's an issue too, right? If we start going to a drip tape system and we then, you know, have lines in the ground, then it's harder to move things
No,
potentially.
the drip lines are under the ground.
No, the drip lines aren't, but you're gonna have feeder hoses to
Yeah,
your.
they're not in the ground either.
Okay, so, Steve, I think last week said he was gonna have.
yeah,
So-
Steve was recommended that we trench them.
Dig a trench.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he wanted to trench the, he had thought trench from the tank, have
Yeah.
the tank elevated,
Yeah,
and then trench down from the tank, put well pipe in, and then bury it, and then have a spigot at it's at the front of everybody's garden. And, I mean, that would certainly work, but it pretty much, that also, that was a good idea because we had quite a ways to go, I guess, from where the tank was gonna be to where each one of these garden spots are.
So what
Into the
size line do you have that goes to your feeder, to your drip tape?
It's half inch, I'm using, thin wall, half-inch, feeder line.
Right, so,
Punch a hole in it with a, there's a
an all
little
length,
all thing that you punch the hole in and that's it.
Similar to sugaring, maple sugaring,
Yeah,
that
I think it's the
same
same.
line?
I think it's the same
Yeah.
line, but this stuff is, it's basically black vinyl
Yeah.
line.
So if we were to feed the next 8 plots past yours, say you're the first one, are they all off the same line? Do each have their own individual return? Do we have like a manifold at the?
Could have,
You know,
could have what would probably work would be have a manifold run down, mainline manifold run down for everybody, and then have their each, would have a, maybe, battery powered, switch on it, so they could turn the thing on in the middle of the night.
Okay, so, is the goal to move these plots around?
No, not anymore. I don't think they
Okay,
want to do that.
so I heard that, Steve suggested moving them
Yeah.
out, away from, and,
In the center of the field.
Well,
One more over to the
Good.
north side.
there's a couple of things we're considering. First thing we're considering is if we picked all the spots in the field, which was the worst, we did it. It's this part of the field is the sandiest part. I plowed the whole field before, with Nesson was down there.
Okay.
I plowed the whole field, and the section over by the trees over there, by the brook, is probably an old glacial esker, and which runs from there back all the way to the river. And
What's on
that
the
side
north
of the,
side? What's on the north side of the field?
that would be the south side.
yeah.
But what's on the north side? where he
North
wanted-
side's it slopes down.
Yeah.
And the north side is a lot less sandy. There's a lot more organic material left over there.
Yep.
We couldn't even, Arrow grabbed a handful after I spaded it up, grabbed a handful of it, made a fist, and opened his fist, and it just fell out through his hands like beach sand.
Sand.
And so at that point, he just walked away. He says, "This isn't gonna work. We're not gonna get anything out of this."
Okay,
We're
so
getting off topic here.
the
Let's-
reason why I was asking, right, so if we're gonna go with drip tape, it's a it's really not permanent, but if we were to move things around, you have to maybe move the tank or move the lines to feed, so if we're,
Yeah.
so there is some work that has to be done if we're gonna do like
But not
irrigation.
everybody wants to go to drip tape.
I know, but if we're trying to push them that way,
Yeah.
that's an issue, right? And we're talking about drip tape here, so my thought is, we don't really want to invest in that if we're gonna ever move the plots. But if we're not moving the plots, then we
I
can,
don't think that we're moving the plots, people were against that. So, it's the community garden, right? So people can be advised on best practices and stuff, but it's basically everybody, there's very few rules, right? It's organic gardening, try what you want. We have some experienced gardeners and some people that are doing it.
I get it, and like I said last meeting, now everybody has their own fence, and it's sort of theirs now, right? It's not, it's individuals' gardens, right? It's a
Theirs.
community garden, but it's, there's a sense of ownership now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, which is fine, okay, yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out, where are we going with, so if we're staying with those type of plots, that influences what we do a little bit different than if we were gonna move them around, every couple of years, to different parts of the field, which, I thought I had heard, so
We
I see what
we
you're
won't do
saying.
that, but
Okay.
we could very well have additional plots.
increase,
right?
okay, that's fine.
Yep.
So,
Best management practices for organic, and especially some of the things that we're growing, is to not grow the same thing in the plot, the same
Right.
thing every year. You're inviting disease, you're inviting all kinds of critters to come in, that basically, once they found that spot, are gonna just, every year, you planted tomatoes again, thank you very much. I don't have to go look for them again this year.
Right.
So that was one of the things that Steve was considering, was have everybody move over this side this year, and then go back to the next year,
I see.
Yeah,
and just
people aren't
keep
gonna do
swapping
that.
back and forth
They're not gonna do that.
as
Good in theory.
right,
Yeah.
which, because we have all individual fences, like if we had done one large fence, we could have just uprooted it, right, but it's okay. So, so I think we need to get a grasp on what's possible, what types of pumps and charging systems and do we use a submersible, like you said? There are electric submersible ones that, we could potentially use. We'll have to do some research. Can we pump it up to 20?
So
X
George,
feet?
the contour map, the elevation roughly at the stream is 112 feet above sea level. And then up in that upper corner where the plots are now is at 134. So 22
Oh,
feet.
22 feet.
Good guess.
And then, if we put
The edge of the side, the actual slope, right from the edge is only like it's only an 8-foot drop. But I don't think what you realize is that it keeps going up to that upper corner.
Right, yeah, no, I've
Yeah,
walked it and
too,
looked at
then,
it.
I mean, to get it into the tower, it's gonna be at least, we gotta plan on at least 30 feet, right? Even
Yeah.
if we don't build a tower, if we just build a platform.
Would,
Yeah.
pieces of sprinkle hose help you guys out at all?
Well, no, but the hose typically you would use for the feeder would be a well pipe. Three-quarter
'Cause
or
I've
1-inch
got-
well pipe.
20 feet or so sprinkle hose that sitting in the shed.
All right.
So-
So I think we gotta move on from this. Sorry, Harry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think we got a lot of research and then we'll
So,
reconvene.
yeah, and I can reach out to you with what I find, or we can,
It's just gonna be easier than what it is now. We can't over-engineer it. We can't make it a project. It's gonna be a lot of money and a lot of time. Something
Exactly.
simple,
Yep.
so we don't have to drive back and forth to the fire. Matt doesn't have to drive back and forth to the fire station at an hour a pop, by the way, to
Yeah.
fill
Oh, I know.
that sucker up.
Yeah.
I was hoping you get a smaller tank that the VW would be able to pull, but I'm not pulling that.
yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
looked
it's a
at,
heavy trailer.
Cooper will do it.
it's now a bigger ball, right? You need a,
Same one.
No, yeah, no,
That
it's
Cooper will do
the 2 and
Hey, you
5/16.
pull the Cooper.
it's 2 5/16.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay,
okay,
Okay?
all right,
Okay.
thank
All
you.
right, thanks very much, Glenn.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I did put on the community garden link, there is an organic farming seminar coming up.
in
that
Whitefield,
just put on.
the one in Whitefield?
Yeah, the one in Whitefield. I've been trying to get hold, I was tasked to try to find out if we can get UNH to come down, and have not been too successful getting a hold of them. All I get is answering machines.
I'll get,
Yeah,
I'll get
Harry's been
the,
pretty
But-
good at getting a hold of UNH for
Pardon?
different stuff.
we'll
You-
get the
you
number
getting,
from you, Harry.
getting a hold of UNH for the cooperative
Yeah,
stuff.
what do you need? No, I'm sorry.
Well, I'll get to
Organic
you
garden talk. There's
Again.
one going on up in the mountains somewhere,
Whitefield.
Lancaster,
White-
Whitefield, and they're having
Apparently
it
don't
in
wanna drive 2
Yeah,
hours.
near Canada.
let me ask.
Yeah,
Ask, yeah.
Great,
yeah, I think
Excellent.
that'd be
North
real
of the
good.
Canadian border.
People
your
that are
passport.
gardening over there, I'd recommend that when the leaves coming down in the fall, use them,
Yeah,
bury them in the garden. That'll help build the soil up.
we're gonna bring seaweed home.
Okay?
Okay,
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Lynn. All right, getting back onto old business. Do we have anything for the Moore's Falls sidewalk?
yes, we do.
Yes, okay.
Yes, we do.
Oh, interesting. All right. Have not heard from National Grid yet. And
No,
I
not
keep pinging
remember
them
who it
every
was,
month.
National Grid. Okay, I sent, the fishing game, well, today I sent her the better plan, but I sent her the same one, that, the National Grid plan and the one that Reggie had given us. And she has the one with the pink line on it. I did talk to her today. She's feeling that it's gonna have to go to the AG's office for interpretation of the easement. Because if we're saying paved, and the easement, is saying everything unpaved, then they might defer it to the charitable trust fund, and the charitable trust people, and I said, well, why there? And she said, because easements are held in the public trust, so it would have to go to the charitable trust if you were changing the easement. So if we can get it with, we can do it with no pavement, we wouldn't have to go to charitable trust, but she'll get back to me in a couple of weeks.
So we're not in a hurry to get the sidewalk done, apparently.
No,
And we still have to deal with National Grid too, which was hot to trot for like 1 month. And then I haven't heard back from them, and I keep pinging them every single month.
the only thing that they're not gonna have I don't think they would have a problem with height restriction. The problem they're gonna have is near the poles. Stay away from their poles. And, to go, we'll go around those trees, and then they don't want us to be too digging but near the poles. I know that. But, right, we have to hear from them. So that's all I know about that for now. Sidewalk.
So is Reggie still in the loop on that, or?
He was ready to dig away this winter, but
Yeah,
we're not ready to do that.
so does he know that to kind of put a halt on things, or?
No, I haven't talked, because I just
Okay.
found out about this today, so I'll have to get a hold of
Okay,
him.
so what happens if we put it next to 3A?
Who wants to be walking right next to three? And that's the other thing she wanted to know,
Well,
how
you-
wide,
what-
how much into the easement are we going?
You've been talking about this since I joined, over a year ago, or right around a year ago.
Well, that's only because we got Reggie to do it across Morris Falls. He wasn't originally gonna do that.
Right, well, if we can't, if it's gonna take a couple years for us to go through, Fish and Game and Public Land Trust.
Yeah, we got 2 or 3 hoops to jump through.
Right, so, I mean,
I
I
think
don't
it-
know,
Plan B.
I don't know how much it's going to get actually used. Okay,
Well, when the other part of it to the south gets finished, and then there's a crosswalk, I think it would get used. Right now, it wouldn't get used, so that's why I don't think we should be in any rush. I think putting it on the other side of the fence next to 3A is a hazard, the way,
Plus there would
There's a water main.
Go ahead,
there.
George, wait a second, George
Well-
he's got a thought. It's come,
I'm just saying that
what's
there are.
Plan B?
There are sidewalks next to roads throughout this country when people don't get, there aren't very many cars that go over, off the road into the
have you
sidewalk
been
and
up there
kill
at 5
somebody.
o'clock?
But, I mean, realistically, so if we can, I don't know how far the right-of-way of the road, goes in,
Well, then
that we
they-
can take for the sidewalk. So, I mean, would we have to move the fence? I
Well,
don't-
then they have a proposed 15-foot road widening easement from, I don't know where that goes, from their property line. So we couldn't go into that road widening easement. So we'd have to be outside the property line. Then we'd be on DOT property, so. there's
Yeah, it
another
doesn't,
problem.
I mean, the state has, what you see for the road, and then they have, 6
Well,
feet?
because 3A is different lengths,
State.
but it's different lengths all
Different
up and
widths.
down.
Yeah,
Because it's an old
but they
road.
still own more than
Right,
what you see on,
Right,
so trying to have it on the outside of the fence is,
then you're on DOT's property.
yeah.
Right, but is DOT easier to deal with as for a sidewalk than,
Well, they'll let you put the sidewalk in if you're gonna maintain it. Which then you've gotta be outside of their 15-foot widening easement.
Which is probably, how far back is the fence?
It's like 17 feet. We set it way back when we
No,
put
but-
that thing.
Yeah, but if there's a
Plenty.
15-foot easement, then we'd,
Depends where the 15-foot easement ends. I think the 15-foot easement is on Reggie's property. I'm not sure it's in front of the Morris Falls property.
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
So-
But then I think it continues down. I don't know. I still think inside the fence
So
is
if
a
they
better-
widen the
no, I-
road,
so-
guess what? There goes the sidewalk.
No, if you're inside the fence, it wouldn't be.
right.
Yeah, if you're inside the fence.
I'm just
yeah, I guess.
trying to see if there's another
Do
solution.
we know when I mean, I think the driving factor for having to have the sidewalk is gonna be when the gas station Dunkin' Donuts goes in. Do we have any updates on that?
He thought he was gonna have approval by September, but I don't know.
I think all of us are gonna retire before the gas station even comes into existence.
Could be right.
Retire or expire?
Both.
I brought this, is it?
Sure.
So, What is your feeling on putting it on the other side of the fence?
We gotta come up with a plan B. You know, it's, we're in,
Why don't you put that plan B? I like plan B.
Quandary.
Well, or else we don't care about building it and, you
Right.
know, we can wait 2 years, you know, that's fine. The only people who are gonna be using it are the residents of the
Now,
That's why I
farm.
said
pushing
Reggie.
the sidewalk to
Yeah.
begin
His
with,
issue.
the planning board?
Yes,
and it's part of a bigger plan. You know,
Right.
it's, at some point in time, the
Oh, I
the
have that.
Albuquerque bike path is gonna make its way up to the horse farm.
Yeah,
And so that chunk right there is part of that project,
Yeah.
project. So we gotta get it, you know, I'm in favor of this, cause I would like to see the bike path kind of extend up, because there's people that are truncated in that northern part of town, not only at the horse farm, but the whole
Everything
neighborhood
else.
across the street, that kids are walking down the street to get to the store, and
Yeah.
I think it would be a nice flow of pedestrian traffic. I think where George is going is that we could be in this bureaucratic process here with all the different entities for the next 2 years. Do we come up with a plan B if this stuff doesn't pan out
But
by
we're
a
probably not gonna
certain
see-
time?
to the south to connect to Albuquerque for 2 years anyway. And I did send her the zoning ordinance where it says sidewalks shall be required along at least one side of 3A to facilitate the development of an interconnected walkable village environment and to connect existing proposed commercial uses to the Albuquerque Avenue multi-use path. So she can use that with the,
so take Plan B and move it to the other side of the
In,
road.
in Reggie's defense, so if it goes to, inside the right of way, there's a whole other set of minutia that you gotta deal with.
Yeah. I
There's
was
gotta
just
be
asking.
granite curbing, you know, the engineering, you know, the whole
Yeah,
nine yards,
yeah,
and
engineering, yeah.
And if they're on the other side, then
That's right.
Charbonneau Street's looking.
Because there are sections of the Albuquerque bike path that are fairly close to the road and there's no curbing. There is a little bit of gap, you know,
I think it's a requirement now. I think Reggie had stated that,
that's fine. I just was bringing up the point just to
yeah.
see if, and
I don't think we can get the paving truck just on the side of the, in front of the fence and just start laying paving there, I think.
okay, no problem. So we wait some more.
Joan, when you talk to them,
Yeah.
I think we're saying to them, right, we're trying to put a paved bike path on their easement. Can you just restate what they said in regards to that?
She said she would have to send it to the the AG wants a whole packet of information from her. She was gonna put that together. They want to interpret, the interpretation, she's asking them for an interpretation of the easement. It's the easement that we have.
Okay, the actual physical easement document to
Right.
see if it allows
For pay.
that type of, to build it or not.
Well, to pave it or not, right.
And from my recollection of when we wrote it, it said no.
I thought we said yes.
We said yes because the town required that to maintain for snow removal. They wanted it the same as a current bike
8
path,
feet,
same
right.
width
Right, 8 feet.
and coverage.
And then I did get from
And then
Rick's
being
office, I got a
Political
plan.
with the elections, and then that's not gonna have a high priority.
What's the elections got to do with the AG's office? They have a lot of people there to work on stuff. I did get a cross-section and sent her that too. While we're on that sidewalk, I don't have the sidewalk easement from Reggie on his property. It's left in the office. But you see where it, goes onto the sidewalk, he's building it on his property? He wants us to maintain that. So I said to him by email, why do we have to maintain that if it's on your property? And because, what did he say? If he's gonna maintain it, it's gonna be closed to just people that live there because of liability. It says something about clear of debris and something. Well, I had that with me.
So, I mean, if it ends up being, part of the, tying into the existing bike path project, the town's maintaining that anyways, so it might make sense to do
keep
that.
going, yeah.
The other option is, George, is if they give us an issue, I don't, we could theoretically put an unpaved
Right,
path
Right,
there.
Yeah, exactly.
That was Nitpack or something,
And not maintain it. The town wouldn't maintain it.
yes, we would, yeah,
They would,
He said he wouldn't plow it.
he said he
he
wouldn't
wouldn't
plow.
plow it, right. But that, and I told her about the material that we used at the river access, but we don't plow that in the winter. I said, it's holding up. See, they don't want impervious. And that's kind of pretty impervious, the stuff at the river access, isn't it? Round up asphalt. So, that's what I know.
All right, thanks, Joan. All right, next we have the, update for, Dare Pond Milfoil.
I spoke with them this morning, and supposedly the paperwork has been completed, but we're not on this, so I didn't get a call back. She didn't know when we were on the schedule exactly, and I thought I was gonna get a call back. So,
So the paperwork being completed, does that mean like the, property owners have been notified and?
no, I think that means, no, I think we would have known about that, but I think that means they've gotten the permits from the state.
Right.
Okay.
So last month, there was some things that needed to be cleared up with the state, and now they are cleared up with the state. It's sort of like a husband and wife thing, and so she knew about the paperwork, but she didn't know exactly when he was gonna get to it. So if I find out, I'll send an email to everyone, but I guess we're closer to getting done.
when do we think the drop dead date is?
I have no idea.
I think you could still do it in the fall, can't you?
I don't know. I think the stuff has to be growing.
Okay.
Yeah, and
You know,
I think
it's
it
a
probably
herbicide.
grows pretty late. I actually went to Robinson Pond, they were supposedly, treated for it, and I was pretty dead disappointed. The milfoil is still really bad in there, and it looks like when they treated it, killed all like the healthy lily pads and stuff.
When did
too,
they do
so-
it there?
It was probably about a month ago, cause I
haven't
saw it
been there
before our last meeting, but yeah, the pond's a mess now.
Yeah,
Did you go in by the beach access there?
Right by the boat launch. I put
Yeah.
in my kayak. I have a pedal kayak, but the
paddles cut off.
the prop kept getting clogged up, like in places where I've never had issues
Yeah.
before.
Too bad.
And that was us.
And it
I
might
think
just be because
solid-
it's so. I think what happens, actually, Dare Pond looked a lot better this year. I think because the water level
Came
rose
up.
because they kept sucking it out. In Robinson, the water level dropped. So when the water level drops, the milfoil, I think it's like anything like 6 feet or less, the milfoil gets crazy.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
like the center of Dare Pond this year is all clear.
Okay.
It looking pretty good. The edges are
Get to
still
the
a
center,
mess,
yes,
but.
is a problem.
Yeah, so, we'll see, I call them every month, and so I think we're getting closer. And as soon as I know, I'll let us know, you know.
Good. Yeah, and then next I had the Parker Park Bridge update, but I mean, we've already discussed that, so we'll meet with the BOS to get,
Right.
ask for approval, so hopefully we'll have that and then be able to give the, go-ahead to the poll guy.
Move ahead.
All right, next, is a fire station, so we have some progress on this. The chief got back to us and said, that, they'd be willing to move the boat. They're up for that. We just gotta let them know when we're ready to move everything back. So
I think I read it is that they're going to move the boat, they're gonna pull the boat out of there, and they're gonna bring it over here. They're gonna do some maintenance on it, they're gonna clean it up, it's gonna be completely out of the garage, and at that point in time,
We should,
we can do our thing, and then give them a phone call and say, hey, we're done, and then they can move the boat back in the current location where the tractor is.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like 2 days or a week that they're saying it's out of there, but I think we just have to coordinate with them when we're lined up to do it. I don't think it'll take us long at all.
Right,
though,
so
to
if
move
we get a
everything.
couple of trucks, right, and then we just go in there and you take that one, I take this one, and we,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
You just
and-
gotta organize it.
Right, and what about the voting trailer?
We'll have to talk to Kevin Brown about that one. Yeah, that's needs to be,
So we,
Voting
yeah,
trail,
we-
voting?
yes,
it's in the wrong, it's in a bad spot. It's in the middle of the bays.
Who moves it out of there for voting?
Probably Kevin Brown, and it used to be set back farther, so there, was space for his lawnmowers in the wintertime, and the voting trailer can fit in that side, but right now the voting trailer is like in the middle, so that whole thing is basically unusable, so we gotta just figure out how all that's gonna work.
Okay, just remember they need to get at it September 9th.
Yeah, we're,
Yes,
we're,
no,
we're, we're
we
not,
know
we're
that.
not blocking them.
yeah.
Well, we got the ATV, but I think we'll still have plenty of room in the back once they move the boat out for us to get everything organized, and
Okay.
we should be fine. Right, anything else on that? We haven't done anything with the trailer, but I think that's probably a project for the fall when we're, have less maintenance to do on the trails.
And it's not 90 degrees in the building.
And I'll be happy to move, well, let me rephrase it. I'll be glad when everything is moved out back, because we put everything in the trailer now. When you need a screwdriver, you're sitting there and
Yeah, you
it's
gotta
in the
walk
pitch black, and you're stubbing your toes and
Yeah, we should,
shins.
should get some lights in there. That would be something we could do.
Well, I
for a
have that one,
short-term
I
project.
get more, those lights are like $5 each or something like that. It's a little light switch, and it's got LEDs on the side of it.
Yeah.
And so you can put them, they're magnetic, actually, you can stick it on the surface and you just flip it on, and, so I actually have a couple more at home, but we can get them at Amazon, they're dirt cheap.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that'll be good. So we just have to coordinate that date and just make sure there's like, 3 or 4 of us available to do the grunt work. All right, next is the DeRocher property. So Jason, you said you coordinated for the assessment, so we're.
Yeah, and I
good for
think
that.
we're gonna need, a couple of just-in-case motions tonight. So, just a quick update. Number one, there was a minor snafu with the stormwater protection grant. We're good. We sent the paperwork in. I should have signed it because I was I guess like the project manager of
Grantee of
the.
record or something, yeah.
Yeah, of record, and the Board of Selectmen signed it, and we sent it up, and they had to send it back, so we're gonna get that in this week. So we're good on that. Then there's 4 other things that we've gotta do over the next few months. Number one, a property appraisal update. I contacted the company that did the previous property appraisal, and they can do it, and it's cheap, it's like $600 or something like that.
Oh.
Number 2 is a title search. Diane contacted a title search company, and they gave us a price for that, and I believe it was like under $1,000 to do the title search for all 3 lots. That's 2. Number 3, what we've really got to figure out, and Diane's helping out with this as well, is a surveyor, to get a surveyor on board. We've contacted the surveyor you provided, Joan,
Granger?
Granger out of Hudson. And Diane, I contacted him in July, he got back to me, he was on vacation, so we didn't connect. And then Diane tried to get in touch with him this week, and hopefully we can get him or somebody else on board soon. I did go out over the past month and tried to locate some of the markers, but I ran into poison ivy and pucker brush, and was a little bit too and it was 95 degrees out, and I'm like, I'm out of here. So, I do have a sub-centimeter GPS unit. If we can, find the markers, I think our cost for doing the survey will come way down if we can locate the monuments for them. They did a really good job, the DeRochers put monuments every 1,000 feet along the lot line. So it's not, the case where, 50 feet left of the old oak tree, they have property markers all the way around. So if this would have happened in the winter, we would be able to walk out and just, I think, find these things. So that's number 3. So number 1 is the appraisal, number 2 is the
Title.
title search, number 3 is the survey, number 4 is the phase 1, level 1 environmental assessment. I've got somebody lined up to do that this fall. But we've got to get like the survey done, so they get everything locked down.
And then at some point, we're gonna have to talk about a subdivision.
Yep, and I think that would be part of that whole survey process.
Why do we need an environment? I'm just curious.
For the grant, they just want to make sure there's no,
Asbestos,
Dead
anything.
body.
yeah, right, some sort of, they take a look at if there's any underground storage tanks on the lot, things like that, make sure there's no hazardous materials.
Okay.
We did get a motion, see what the commission feels about this, so we did get a motion to spend up to, it was like $700,000, to support the project. We're gonna have some costs coming in, so we're gonna have the cost for the appraisal and the cost for the title search.
Say that number again, what number was that?
It was like 700, upper limit of 700,000
That's what our budget said.
out of the land fund.
700,000? That,
Well,
oh, that's a
the-
total with the
Well,
fire.
I thought it was the land fund and the,
In the farm,
In the
farm
farm fund?
preservation.
yeah, it was,
I'll have to check what the
Between the two.
motion was, but I thought we just put like, we're not gonna use that much, but I think we put in an upper limit of 700 from the land fund.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
okay.
on top of that,
okay.
Okay.
But we use the farm fund first and
Yeah.
then tap into the land fund.
I think we'll be more in the 400
Yeah, yeah.
range. So the question is, we're gonna use the same company that did the appraisal before, and like, just have them do it. And it's not like a big enough cost where we have to go out to bid. I think, like I said, we're like $600 or something like that. So should I get separate motions for those things, just in case, to cover our bases?
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Because you're spending money.
All right, so I'm gonna make 2 motions. Motion number 1, and I'm gonna up the limit just in case, would be a motion to bring on a firm to spend up to $1,000 to bring on a firm to do an updated appraisal on the property. That would be number 1. And then number 2, to spend up to $1,000 to select a firm to do the title search work. That cool?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll second it.
No, I didn't make the motion yet.
Oh, I
Just-
thought you did.
We'll do it as 2 separate
We'll
motions.
do 2 sep, all right. So I'll make a motion to spend up to $1,000 out of the land fund to complete an updated appraisal on the DeRocher property.
I'll second it.
Okay, Jason made the motion, Harry seconds, we'll go to vote.
Discussion.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, any discussion? Do we need to do a roll call vote, or can it just be a show of hands?
So,
All right, show of hands, who's in favor?
Aye.
All right, so it passes 6-0-0.
So, before you make your second motion, you said that you thought it was $1,000 for the title search. Should you go to 1,500 just to be,
That's fine. I think it'll be under 1,000.
Oh,
but
okay. Okay, I just,
You never know.
no,
Never know,
I just
yeah.
heard you say you thought it was gonna be 1,000, so I just wanna make sure you have it, you have enough leeway.
I got a note from Diane. So she said do 1,000 just in case. Diane's been
Okay.
doing a lot of homework on
Okay.
this. I'm gonna make it 1,500 just in case something got goofed up, but.
yeah.
Okay,
All right, so I'll make a motion to spend up to $1,500 from the land fund to complete the necessary title search work for the DeRocher property purchase.
I'll second it.
Now, is that within the, we don't have to ask for our permission? Well, I don't know, I don't remember what the top limit is for the selectmen for money. It's like 5,000 or, I don't know what it is.
I don't think it's 15.
It's something bigger than that. Okay.
We'll ask them.
All right, any discussion? All right, Jason made the motion, Harry seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, passes 6-0-0.
The next one will be the surveyor, and we might have to go out to bid for that. We might have to get 3.
Yeah, that's gonna,
prices for that.
that's gonna,
We can
gonna
find
be
three.
pricey.
Surveyors. Well, what about like all the engineering companies? They're gonna be more costly, but like Keach Nordstrom and Dubay. Dubay's out of Londonderry.
Just trying to see the purchasing requirements.
Okay. All right, so then just moving on to other business now. For anybody have any updates on property checks and maintenance? I had the community garden water supply here, but I think we talked that to death.
I have something. When I was cleaning the files, I mean, I knew about this monument, but it brought it to my attention. In 2010, we had Greg Jeffrey put one stone bound at the northwest corner, northwest corner of our property behind the library. So I propose in the fall, after the leaves are down, we go find it and blaze.
I've seen it before.
You have?
Yep.
He doesn't have any coordinates on here, but I think we could find it. Go straight out from there. Well, here's our access. So we'd have to come up this way and go. But we should find that. And I think that's all I have for right now.
All right, Harry, do you have anything for property checks?
No.
I do. Musterfield, Matt, our fearless leader over here, took one for the team and mowed the upper Musterfield, and I think he said that in some cases the grass was over 6 feet
Oh,
high.
yeah, whatever is there. It was pretty,
Now, was that planted or that just came up?
No, that was just planted. Where Jason put some whatever
Was
conservation mix
conservation mix?
in the front part from when you go through there. But that I was able to do with just the regular mower deck, but I had to put on the brush hog for the back half because that just went crazy.
So the movie there, Harry, is what it looks like up top. So that piece right up top by that big tree, probably within I don't know, 30 yards of that, that's everything that we planted right there, right in front of you. But the stuff on the back 40 there is all original, and I think I got some of that. So Matt cut all of this stuff down the end. Sorry for my wobbly screen here, but I was trying to take the video. Matt cut all this stuff down here, and this is all of the Tim's Turf conservation mix that they gave us. It took okay for there being a
As
big
dry as it
drought and
is,
a lot of heat.
It'll come in.
Yeah, I didn't. I forgot to take video until after it was almost done. So
Yeah,
I just did it from the text app, so it didn't come out very good.
There's a couple dead trees up there still. When we had the wind damage and I cleaned that up, there's a dead tree down by a fairly good-sized tree.
Don't take all the dead trees down.
that was the drone strike.
The drone strike.
The drone was caught in the tree.
Leave the big dead tree,
Leave that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's good, it's looking pretty good up there, and I think Matt was saying that we probably need to hit it once a month.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we can't let it go as long as it did. I couldn't even see where it was going.
Don't fall off the edge.
Yeah,
I was more worried about, we did a good job clearing off all the, down logs and stuff like that, so I knew it was pretty.
how was the mowing there? Was it was the mower, did you hit anything with the mower?
No, it was pretty
Stump
good. So he did, when the guy went through with the forestry tool
Yeah.
earlier, he did a nice job. There was
Cool.
no issues. There's a couple, in the far end, there was a couple, logs we didn't fully clean up, so just had to be careful about those.
Yeah, look, I went up there with the tractor and I mowed the top part, I think it was last weekend. Again, it had grown up a little bit and, it looks really good back there.
Yeah, I think if we hit it once a month, we can just hit it with a regular mower deck. We don't even
How
have to
long
bring
did
it
it
up
take you?
actually.
It probably took you twice as long as what it would.
Yeah, I'd probably spend 3 hours total, maybe. I did it, it took me a couple times.
Huh.
All right, Fred, you got anything?
No.
George?
I did go down and look at Parker Park because of the, pump situation, and I looked down there, so found a T-shirt, beer can down there today. Looks like the poison ivy is, doing okay, getting knocked down there.
Wow.
Yeah, I treated it multiple times,
With the vinegar?
multiple. You have to really, really go at it to make sure it's.
Is that the shirt you got down there?
No, it ended up being actually a tank that I threw it away, but.
Charlie Daniels, was it a Charlie Daniels and a
Wrong
PBR?
size.
There was a PBR can. It's too funny. PBR, it's like, did you drink some? It was only one can. Like, how?
Something
Yeah,
better than
too-
that.
Too funny. Yeah, no other real property checks.
I did cut, what did I cut last week? Oh, I did cut the, community garden last week, and
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
try to hit Moore's Falls this weekend, depending on what's going on.
Yeah, I think I'm around, so I might be able to help with that.
Well, I do have one more thing. Can I go?
Yeah.
So we got an application in Tuesday for multifamily, 2 buildings of 6 behind Lobster Boat. And they are applying for a conditional use permit, which I don't really know if they did this right, but they sent it to the Conservation Commission because they have some wetlands, and they went through all the reasons that they are not doing anything evil to the wetlands. But the planning board hasn't accepted this until August 20th, so probably don't need to talk to it about it till September. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, when we did the survey for the BAE property, we kind of looked over through there, so,
And that's, they'll make the connection, a gated connection to BAE,
yeah.
Rose Meadow. And,
And that's that's where Rick was gonna have the retention pond is kind of right back there too, right?
I'd have to look at his plan, I don't remember.
Let's see. Let me go to my app.
They didn't put anything about a private road, so I guess they're calling it a driveway, but planning board has to make sure on that. So you don't wanna pick up a road or driveway.
Yeah, so they came in front of the zoning board.
Yeah, they got a zoning,
What are they doing?
2 buildings behind, well, first they're combining the lots, where the chicken coop is? I call it the chicken coop, but I
Yeah.
guess it was a housing at one time. They're taking that down, they're combining those 2 lots, so they'll have about 7 acres total, so they managed to squeeze in 2 buildings up against Rick's property so there'd be 6 units in each building, so 2 bedrooms.
Condos, apartments?
I don't know if they'd be condos or rentals,
Rentals.
I don't know.
I see.
And then the zoning board said they would have to have a fence, and they had that on the plan to screen it from the car place, for one thing, because the car, oh, no, it's iRoof back there now.
Yeah, so I think that got voted on before I was there,
Yeah.
before I was on the zoning
Probably.
board, but
I think it was-
I was at the meeting. So-
Would be right in here.
Yeah.
The- There is a pond, right?
Yeah.
That's,
And
And there's
there's
the
a pond.
retention pond, right there.
And they're leaving that.
Looks good down there. I actually drove by there. It looks, they're making a lot of progress.
Yeah.
Yeah,
down there.
they are. And then, oh, DOT told them they could have so many units, I think maybe it was 24, before they get their driveway permit, because we know how fast DOT's moving these days. Or at least that's what Rick told me, so I think I have to probably get something in writing from DOT.
so, if I remember correctly, the zoning board put some restriction on there such that they can't, I think there's a landscaping company or,
No,
it was
they
a,
had to have a fence.
that, they had to have a fence, and they couldn't, like, use dumpsters, or they could only use one small dumpster, because I think it's actually a roofing company.
It's a roofing company, yeah.
Right, so that they couldn't store.
Oh, they put
roofing-
that on the roofing company's restrictions?
Yes, okay, or the restrictions for the use of that building, that they can only have a dumpster of a certain size, such that they couldn't have lots of roofing material and
Right.
trucks coming in there all the time to store,
Shabados.
That's a good point, I should get that variance out.
okay?
iRoofs.
Just trying to think what else was,
Because it was, on the housing part, they said a fence and something else. Oh, the amount, I think they could only have 12 units. I think that was what it was.
right.
Oh, so I just have one update for the community garden for the new, so Steve gave us a new trailer today with another tank on it. So I filled that today and put that up there, but this one, the tank isn't fixed onto the trailer. So when I filled it, it was I thought it was centered on the trailer, but it was a little far back, so if anybody goes there, it's a little light on the front.
So,
So I've got it blocked there, so it's safe, but when that tank gets down, I might need some help shifting that forward and probably put in some, put some blocks in to keep the water tank in place.
yeah, I'm around next week.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a few days, but I'll just let the tank get real low before we fill it again. I might need some help with that.
Oh, is that a recent picture?
Oops, yep, that is April, here, so
That's,
it's a super secret site. Okay, so that's
That was previous?
July 2023, October 2023, April 2024.
wow.
I don't have anything after that. I should have something within the
you-
next month.
They got in there, started moving stuff.
So can you slide, yeah, there you go. So where the, yeah, that's where and they're gonna put the 12, like, right in here.
Right, right, and then connect to that, to
And
the,
I think there's an access road or something, right?
yeah, Rick has a stub, and then they'll have stubs, it'll be gated emergency access.
Is that Rick's project also?
No, it's lobster boat. Because they're bringing the water up through lobster boat, so
I see.
lobster boat said, well, why not? Cool.
Are those the pits from the,
No,
Were
those are
they
the
the aliens?
foundations.
So the
oh,
foundation,
the foundation?
Oh, I found out what the pits were for. Al Racho he worked there extensively when they did, aircraft, radar, and something else, submarine, that's what the pits were for. And they had those water pits, and they'd stick the equipment down in the
Oh, for testing with the water?
testing, yeah.
All right, anybody, member input, anybody else have, anything else?
Nope.
I Wow, we're getting to the end. My battery's dying, so that's good. Next, we have approval of the meeting minutes.
I have one issue, and I know it was said this way, but I need a little clarification. So it's on page 5, the third paragraph from the bottom. During the meeting, a question was raised about the protocol for notifying the police department if homeless individuals are found on certain properties, comma, as it is now a state law prohibiting camping. Okay, so that was said, but it needs to be a clarification. A member mentioned, and then it goes on to say, the discussion clarified that the law is specific to Manchester, but is enforced in Litchfield to prevent anyone from staying on the properties after dusk. So it should just say a member, right after found on certain properties, a member mentioned,
That was me.
I think it was Harry,
Oh, was it?
as it is now a state law prohibiting camping, because it's not a state law.
Yeah, and that shouldn't pertain to us anyways, because our parks are only open from dawn till dusk.
But do you want to leave that part in there because it was said, or what do you want?
Yeah, no, it was said, but
Yeah,
the
it's-
resolution is, we notify the police
Right,
department if someone's
right,
there, but
Right,
all the signage says we're open from
Till
dawn
dusk.
till dusk.
right, okay, that's all I had.
All right, so, someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes with Joan's edits?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All right, Fred makes a motion, George seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
All right, 6-0-0.
8-1. Okay.
All right, last thing we have is for, next meeting, so first Thursday would put us for, September 5th. Any issues? All right,
September 5th.
Uh-oh,
Uh-oh,
George might be in the Adirondacks.
No.
Patriots?
It's
Opening day?
opening night of the NFL season.
Oh,
It is?
there's a game going tonight.
Yeah. No, I knew it stuck in my head for some reason.
Who's playing?
It might be the Eagles and, I don't know.
so we'll just make sure we're done by 8:15 again.
tropical disturbance, 97L.
All right, there's no need for non-public tonight, correct? All right, then I guess we can adjourn all those. Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Yes, we do. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, Jason made a motion to adjourn. Jones seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
20.
6-0-0 again.
Very good.
Hey, Jason, I just sent you an email on your